Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about exponents. We're going to be learning how to take something that is in standard form and write it into exponent form. That means writing multiplication expressions with the same base using exponents. To get us started, we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is a numerical expression that shows the number 3 being multiplied by itself 4 times. Instead of writing the same number multiplied over and over again, we can use a base and exponent to write it in a shorter and easier way. So here we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And notice that we see that 3 is being repeated over and over again, so it's a repeated factor. And we have this written out in standard form. And our goal is to take that and write it in exponent form. But before we do so, let's go over a couple of components that we need to understand before writing something in exponent form. So the first one is the base. The base is the number written before the exponent. It represents the factor that is being repeated over and over. So in this case, the base would be 3 because that's being multiplied by itself over and over again. Then we need to know about the exponent. So the exponent is a small number written above and to the right of the base. The exponent tells us how many times we multiply the base by itself. So notice that we're multiplying 3 by itself 4 times. The 3 appears 4 separate times, and we're multiplying it by itself 4 times, which makes the exponent 4. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 equals 3 to the power of 4. That is how we would write it in exponent form. So next we have 2 times 2 times 2. And we're going to take that and write it in exponent form. So first let's talk about the base. So the base is the number blank that is being used as a repeated factor. So in this case, we notice that 2 is being used as a repeated factor because it's the number that keeps multiplying by itself. So our base is 2. So we're going to write that down. Our exponent, so 2 is used as a repeated factor blank times. So notice that we have 2 being multiplied by itself 3 times, which would make 3 our exponent. And when we write that in exponent form, we're going to take the base and the exponent and put them together. So here we have 2 to the power of 3, or we could also read that as 2 cubed. All right. So next we have 2 over 3 times 2 over 3 times 2 over 3 times 2 over 3 times 2 over 3. And we're going to take that and write that in exponent form. First, let's talk about our base. So the number blank is used as a repeated factor. In this case, that number would be 2 over 3 because we see that being multiplied by itself over and over again. So it's our repeated factor. So our base is 2 over 3. Our exponent, in order to find that out, we're going to take 2 over 3 and see how many times it's used as a repeated factor. So 2 over 3 is used as a repeated factor blank times. That would be 5 times. So we see it appear 5 different times, and that's how many times it's being multiplied by itself. So our exponent is 5. And in order to write that as exponent form, what we're going to do is we're going to put parentheses around 2 over 3 to show that the fraction is being multiplied by itself 5 times and not just the numerator or the denominator. If we didn't have that parentheses there, it would appear as if the exponent was only with the numerator, and we want it to apply to the entire fraction, which is why we put the parentheses there. So in order to write that in exponent form, we have to write the base and the exponent together. So here we have 2 over 3 to the power of 5. All right. Next, we have 25 hundredths times 25 hundredths. And in order to write that as in exponent form, we have to first figure out what our base is. So our base is the number that is the repeated factor. So the number blank is used as a repeated factor. That would be 25 hundredths. And then our exponent, we have to figure out how many times this repeated factor appears. How many times our number is being multiplied by itself. So 25 hundredths is used as a repeated factor blank times. That would be 2 times. So in order to write this in exponent form, we have to write the base and the exponent together. And we have 25 hundredths to the power of 2. Or we could say 25 hundredths squared. That's another way of saying to the power of 2. And that's it.